Hey guys, how's it going? I'm Cambridge Rory, or Cambridge English Teacher Rory from studentlanguages.com. If you want to know an easy way to start teaching online, keep watching this video and I will show you what I do in my online lessons. Okay, so seeing as this channel is really devoted to techniques and tips, here is an easy way for you to begin teaching online. And I also work with other online teaching companies, so I am in a good position to tell you what works with some of those companies and what doesn't work as well. But what I'm going to focus on is what works well in this video. So this is what I do in my lessons. I think it's very simple and I think it's very effective, as my students will tell you. And if you want to see what students have said about me and my lessons, feel free to look at the testimonials below. Let's dive straight in and have a look at what I do. So I've been teaching online for about 5 years, and for the last few years I've had the same strategy. I get the students' contact details and I will get their Skype address, their Skype name and their Skype address. If they have Skype. If they don't have Skype, I ask them to create an account. Then, once you are in the Skype dashboard, you can search for people in the top left here. Skype sometimes changes, but at the moment, the search Skype option is in the top left corner. So, let's type in a name, for example, Russ. Okay. Russian with Vita, just as an example. That is an account that's already made, so I can say hi to this person and start a conversation that way, or I can automatically ring this person. Some of my lessons I just do voice calls because I think it's better for students' listening practice, especially if they need to do telephone conversations at work. And you can do that by pressing the phone button for an audio call, but you can also press the video button for a video call in the top right corner here. So before the lesson, I will also have prepared a Google document. Okay, so this is the Google document that I use. If you have a Google account, you can simply create a document called Google Documents. And what I've done, obviously, I have my teaching details at the top of every page. And at the top of the first page, I have some more details about me that could be useful for my students. I then write down my students' details, so my students' name, email, their Skype name, their mobile number, just in case I need to contact them quickly, and their time zone. That's very important before you start lessons, to establish what time zone you will be teaching in. Are they in the same time zone as you? Then I also put this instruction that my students need to cancel or change the lesson with 24 hours notice, otherwise they may still get charged for the lesson because I asked for payment in advance. And I tell them to make a copy of this document link at the top here. This link will be different for every different student because you will have a different document for each student. And I tell them to copy this link and keep a note of it so they can refer back to it in the future. Okay, so that's the front page, my teacher details, the students' details, and then I just have a little contents where they can skip to the correct lesson number nice and quickly. And what we'll do is we will just skip to lesson number 1 because it's easy. But yeah, they can skip to any lesson by clicking these links. Your Google document doesn't need to be as complicated as this, but this is what I do full time. So I try and make it as simple and effective as I can for myself. So we have lesson notes. So lesson number 1 here, I write down lesson length, how long the lesson will be. Normally it's 60 minutes, occasionally 30 minutes. And then I write down my lesson notes. For my first lesson, I already have some questions that I want to ask them. I tried to make it a bit more interesting by having pictures. And then at the end of the first lesson, I have a little homework section where I can give them some homework. So for example, write down 10 new phrasal verbs, for example. Then the students can look back, find the last lesson we did, look to see if there's any homework to complete. But normally I will tell my students what the homework is in the lesson anyway. Then I just have a little section where I ask them, would they like to do anything different in the next lesson? And if they want to, they can tell me and I can write down my thoughts or my notes to help me prepare for the next lesson. I then write down the time of the next lesson and the date of the next lesson. We either decide that during the lesson or I tell them to contact me after by email. And so often what I will do in my lessons, let's say we're doing a lesson on conditional sentences, for example, third conditional, and maybe I noticed that the student is having problems with the past perfect tense, and I think, okay, we should revise that again in a future lesson. So what I will do is I will actually go down to the next lesson and write down past perfect, so I remember to look at this in the next lesson or at some point in the future. Okay, so that's my sort of lesson structure, all on Google Documents. The great thing about it is when you are adding comments in here and you are writing, the student can see these at the same time, but you need to make sure that you share the document by clicking in the top right hand corner, the share button. You click Get Shareable Link, and then anyone with the link can edit. And if you do it to edit, that means that the student can then also write their own comments. So it's effectively like having a whiteboard in a lesson. You can write down your comments here, the student can see them, and then the student can also write down comments here, and you can see them. And that's it. Very, very simple, but effective. It works for me, it has worked for me for many years, and I think it's great. So I call up the student on Skype, normally video call them. There is an option on Skype to share screens. It's normally 2 boxes in the bottom right hand corner of your conversation, which I used to do in the past, but now I don't do it because with Google Documents I don't need to. So I call them up, video lesson. Speaking to the student, I ask the student to open the document which I have shared with them by sending them this link and telling them to keep a copy of the link. I then will have already prepared my notes, which we can then look at together in the lesson. I can write more comments, they can write comments, we can see them at the same time, and it works fantastically. But if you don't want to follow this method, there are alternatives available, and what seems to be growing in the online teaching community is a platform called Zoom, and I'm not going to do a lesson about that right now, but what I will do is I will recommend my friend Lloyd's Facebook group, because Lloyd does videos every day, and the recent videos he's done have been about Zoom, and I think they are really useful. So I recommend checking out Lloyd's channel. He actually runs English TV Live, and he has an English TV Live private community where he does one lesson every day from Monday to Friday, and he also gets in guest teachers like me, and he does a couple of Zoom chats with his students. I think it's a great community. I've really enjoyed being a part of it. And if you're interested, it could be especially good for you right now if you're in quarantine. So check it out, and I will put a link in the description below to that. Okay guys, so I hope you found this video useful. I hope it was simple. If you have any comments you would like to make, feel free to write a comment below. Otherwise, I'd really appreciate it if you like this video, subscribe to my channel, and press the bell notification, because then you can be notified of my new videos, and maybe you get a little buzz in your pocket every time I make a video. I'd really like that, because I want you to watch more of my videos. When you watch my videos, it helps my channel grow. And it helps more students like you to find my work. So I really appreciate it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for following me. I'm Cambridge English teacher Rory, or Cambridge Rory from studentlanguages.com. Adios, amigos.